The mask she wore at the makeup chair was quiet. Too quiet. Ana de Armas sat with her hands folded in her lap, eyes locked on the mirror in front of her. The makeup artist brushed foundation across her cheekbones, gently tapping to blend it in. But Ana didn't flinch. She had learned to sit still, perfectly still, like a statue carved for the camera. Outside the trailer, people bustled around the set. It was day 12 of shooting the new film, a high-stakes action drama with Keanu Reeves as her co-star. Everything was going according to plan, on paper, but paper couldn't record silence. It couldn't record the loneliness that dug deeper each day. No one saw the way her fingers trembled just before she pressed record on her morning video diaries. No one heard the way her breath hitched behind the bathroom door after a scene wrapped. They saw the light, the smile, the eyeliner flicked to perfection, but not the grief. She missed her mother. She missed Havana. She missed a version of herself that didn't need to pretend she was okay. And on this morning, with mascara in one hand and a fake smile in the other, Ana felt something give way inside her. "You all right, sweetheart?" the makeup artist asked softly, brushing some powder along her jaw. Ana nodded, lips pressed into a tight line. "You're glowing," the woman added with a smile. Ana didn't have the heart to say it was sweat or sadness. She glanced toward the door. It creaked slightly open, and there he was. Keanu, quiet as ever, thoughtful as ever. He knocked gently, even though the door was already open. "May I?" he asked. Ana nodded. Keanu stepped in, holding two paper cups. "Tea," he said simply, offering her one. "Ginger and lemon. Figured you might want it before the next take." Ana managed to smile and took it. "Thank you." He leaned against the wall, sipping his own tea. For a moment, they said nothing. But it wasn't awkward. It never was with Keanu. Like he had this rare gift of making silence feel safe. "You look tired," he said after a while, his voice low. Ana blinked, startled. She had heard the line 1,000 times in the industry, usually as a passive-aggressive jab, but Keanu said it differently. He wasn't pointing it out. He was witnessing it. She swallowed. "I didn't sleep much." "Me neither," he said, eyes steady on her. "It's the night thoughts. They never rest." Ana looked down at her cup. "Yeah." Keanu sat on the edge of the nearby couch, still not pushing, still not prying. "Just there," she exhaled. "Do you ever feel like you're performing, even when the cameras are off?" His eyes didn't waver. "More often than not." She finally looked up at him. He said, "But I've learned that the people who smile the brightest often carry the most storms." Her throat tightened. "I don't want to fall apart in front of everyone, then fall apart with just one." He said, "Someone who won't try to fix you, just sit in the rubble with you until you're ready to stand again." Ana's eyes burned, and that was when the makeup artist stepped out for a phone call, leaving the two of them alone. Ana placed her tea down. Her hands trembled slightly. Keanu noticed but didn't comment. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of cloth, a simple, soft handkerchief. He walked over and gently placed it on the makeup counter beside her. "If you ever need to take the mask off," he said, "use this instead." Ana didn't say a word, but later, when she looked in the mirror again, she didn't see an actress. She saw a girl, a real girl, and for the first time in a long time, she didn't add another layer of makeup. She wiped some away. The scene they filmed that day was an emotional one. It wasn't meant to be, was it? Simple dialogue exchange between the two leads at a bus station. But something shifted in the air. Keanu's eyes lingered longer on her than the script called for. Ana's voice broke on a line that was supposed to be steady, and the director didn't yell cut immediately. He let it run. When the camera finally stopped rolling, there was a strange hush on set. Even the boom operator seemed to hold his breath. Ana stepped back from the scene. Blinking rapidly, Keanu didn't say anything. He just placed a hand on her shoulder. Steady, respectful, grounding. That night, Ana didn't go home immediately. Instead, she found herself sitting on a bench outside the studio, hoodie pulled tight over her head, legs curled beneath her. The stars were out, but they felt far away. A soft thud landed beside her. It was Keanu again. Same hoodie, same tired eyes. He didn't ask why she was sitting there alone. He just sat beside her. Minutes passed. Then she said, I used to love acting because it let me become someone else. Now I think I just don't want to be myself. Keanu nodded slowly. I used to think that too. She turned to him. What changed? Someone told me once, he said, that hiding your pain is like locking a song inside a box. Might protect it, but no one ever hears it. And it was never meant to be kept quiet. Anna looked away, her eyes glistening. He added, your song, even the sad parts, matters. He didn't reply. But that night, when she got home, she opened her video diary and hit record. No makeup, no smile, just Anna. And for the first time, she said aloud, today, someone saw me. Echoes behind the lens next morning. The light through Anna's window felt different. Not brighter, not softer, just real. She hadn't slept much, not because of worry, but because something inside her had started to shift. Slow, gentle, like a river changing direction. Something had cracked in her, but instead of breaking, it was letting something new come through. Truth, raw, simple truth. The video diary from last night still sat open on her laptop screen. Her own face stared back at her bare, tired, but honest. She hovered her finger over the delete key and then didn't press it instead. She clicked save. On set, the energy buzzed with its usual rhythm. Cables snaked across the floor. Assistants carried coffees in both hands. Lighting crews shouted over the hum of generators. Anna walked through it all, silent, steady. She wore no foundation that day, just a soft shade of lip balm and a quiet look in her eyes. Some people noticed. The costume supervisor did a double take. The assistant director blinked twice, but no one said anything, except Keanu. You look like yourself. He said. Anna gave a small nod. I feel more like her. He smiled. Good. She's stronger than she thinks. The scene that day was a confrontation. Their characters were supposed to argue, throw verbal jabs, bring up past pain. The director wanted fire, tension, rage. But something else happened instead. They rehearsed the lines, over and over. But every time they got to the emotional peak, Anna couldn't scream. The lines felt fake, forced, like noise over silence. Director called cut and walked over. Anna, you okay? You're not hitting the emotional height here? Let's push it a bit. Yeah, she nodded slowly. Can I try something different? The director hesitated, then nodded. Go ahead. The camera rolled again. Keanu stood in front of her, ready. The line was supposed to be, you never really saw me. Anna looked into his eyes, her voice low, trembling. You didn't see me. But this time, her eyes glistened, her lip quivered. The silence between words pulled heavier than any scream could. Keanu stepped closer. His line was, I didn't know how. But when he said it, it felt like a confession. Raw, real, something passed between them in that moment that didn't come from the script. The whole set knew it. When the scene ended, no one clapped. They just stood still. And then one of the crew whispered, Damn, the director exhaled. We're keeping that one. Later that afternoon, while the sun dipped lower in the sky, Anna sat alone at the edge of the soundstage, legs dangling off the platform. She sipped water and stared into the quiet of the lot. Keanu approached, holding a small box in his hands. Found this in an old bookstore last week, he said. Sitting beside her, she looked at the box. Inside was a worn leather journal. Blank. Pages thought you might want to write something that doesn't have to be read by anyone else, he added. Anna touched the cover gently. Thank you. He didn't say you're welcome. He just nodded. After a pause, she asked, How do you do it? Do what? Stay so grounded? It's like you're not trying to prove anything? He took a long breath. Because once, a long time ago, I tried to prove myself to the world, he said. But then I realized, the world isn't who goes home with you at night. Your soul does. Anna sat with that, he continued. I started asking myself if the cameras disappeared tomorrow, would I still be kind? Would I still care about people? Whispered, would I still be enough? Keanu looked at her. Yes, you would. The next few days were different. Not perfect. Anna still had moments of doubt. She still caught herself reaching for her mask. But each time, she remembered that quiet moment. The tea, the handkerchief, the journal. One night she found herself writing in it. The words spilled out faster than she expected. Dear me, you've done well to survive this long pretending. But maybe now it's time to live without the costume. Even if it's hard. Even if it's messy. Even if you cry in the middle of a take. Especially then. By week's end, the cast was invited to a press event. Red carpet. Flashing lights. Microphones and faces. Anna stood in front of the mirror, holding a glittering designer dress. It was beautiful, but not her. Not today. Instead, she chose a soft, simple black dress with sleeves that fell just below her elbows. She tied her hair into a loose braid. Minimal makeup. Real smile at the event. Reporters swarmed. They asked about the movie, the characters, the scenes. Then one reporter leaned forward and said, Anna, we heard you've been showing up to set without makeup lately. That's bold. Is it a statement? Anna smiled gently. It's not a statement, it's just me. So what changed? She looked over at Keanu, who stood nearby answering questions. He glanced back at her with that calm gaze. Anna turned to the reporter and said, Someone reminded me that the most powerful thing you can be in this world is honest. That night, a clip of her interview went viral. People online praised her, some criticized. But Anna didn't read the comments. She just closed her phone and opened her journal. Dear me, truth always makes noise, but let it, because silence is too heavy to carry alone. The next morning, when she stepped onto the lot, someone had left a note taped to her trailer door. It was handwritten. Thank you for being real. You made me feel seen. From a crew member who was hiding too. Anna stood there for a long time, hand pressed gently to the note. And in that stillness, a small tear slipped down her cheek. This time she didn't wipe it away. She let it fall. The day the mirror cracked death, morning air felt heavier than usual. It wasn't the weather. It wasn't the schedule. It was the silence that greeted Anna as she stepped onto set. No one said it out aloud, but something had changed. The video from the red carpet had exploded online. Her words about honesty, about not hiding behind makeup, had spread like wildfire. Some people celebrated her bravery. Others, behind closed doors, called it a risky move. Studio executives whispered. Marketing managers exchanged long emails. Somewhere between admiration and discomfort, the industry began to murmur. Anna felt it in the way certain people smiled a little too tightly, in the way her agent's voice trembled just slightly when they said, Let's be mindful of how you're coming across lately. But what hurt the most wasn't the industry. It was the mirror, the one inside her own head, because no matter how brave she had tried to be, no matter how open, a quiet question still haunted her. What if the truth makes people walk away? That afternoon, Anna filmed a complex emotional scene. Her character was supposed to stand in the middle of a crowded room, delivering a monologue about betrayal and strength. The set was decorated with warm lights and extras dressed in elegant gowns. The camera was ready. The director gave her the cue. Anna walked to her mark. She took a breath. But when she opened her mouth, nothing came out. The room waited. The silence stretched longer. She tried again. Still nothing. Finally, director called cut. Anna blinked, staring ahead, frozen. The director approached, trying to keep his voice light. What's going on, Anna? Do you need a minute? She nodded quickly, voice cracking. Yes, please. She walked off set, into the hallway behind the stage. Her hands were shaking. She didn't cry. Not yet, but her body felt tight, as if every muscle was trying to hold something back. That's when she heard soft footsteps. Keanu. He didn't ask what was wrong. He didn't offer tea this time. Instead, he just leaned on the wall across from her and said, I forgot my lines once. Years ago, on a live stage. Thousands of people watching. She looked at him, startled. He continued. I panicked, froze, couldn't breathe. I walked off stage, hid behind the curtain, thought it was the end of my career. Anna said nothing, but her eyes were locked on him. And you know what? Someone? Backstage told me, he asked. She shook her head. They said you're not broken. You're just human. Anna's shoulders slumped. She whispered, what if my honesty is too much for people? Keanu's voice softened. And maybe those people were too little for your honesty. Later that evening, after the scene was pushed to the next day, Anna returned to her trailer and opened her journal. But instead of writing, she stared at the blank page. Her hands trembled again, and then she did something she hadn't done in years. She picked up a brush, not a makeup brush, a paintbrush. Buried deep in one of her boxes was a small canvas, dusty, untouched. She dipped the brush into soft blue paint and dragged it across the white. She didn't think, didn't plan. She just painted blue, black, red, streaks, and shapes that made no sense except to her. Her tears mixed with the paint. And when she finished, she stepped back and saw what had formed. A face. Not complete. Not pretty. But real, cracked open, and free. The next day, Keanu found a small canvas on his trailer doorstep. No note, just the painting. He stared at it for a long time, then smiled. The shoot moved forward. The emotional scene was filmed. This time, Anna didn't forget the lines, but she didn't recite them either. She felt them. She delivered them with the kind of weight that made the crew fall silent again. And when it ended, just a quiet voice from the director, "Thank you." After the wrap that day, Anna walked alone down the side of the soundstage. The golden hour sun poured across the lot, bathing everything in light. She found Keanu sitting on an old crate, sipping from a ceramic mug. He looked up. "Nice work today," she nodded, then sat beside him. After a moment, she asked, "What do you do with pain that doesn't go away?" He sipped quietly, then replied, "You hold it with kindness, like a child who's scared." Anna turned to him. He said, "We're taught to run from pain, hide it, dress it up. But sometimes it just wants to be acknowledged. It's not erased." Anna's voice trembled. "I feel like I've spent years covering it up. And yet here you are," he said gently, "still standing, still choosing truth." They sat there for a while. No cameras, no lines, just silence. The kind that heals. Later that night, Anna shared a post on her private journal blog. Only a few close friends read it. The words flowed freely. "The mirror cracked today. But instead of breaking me, it let the light in." The storm inside the Applausive film wrapped 3 weeks later. It was supposed to be a celebration. Cameras flashed. Voices laughed. A cast and crew party buzzed with energy and glitter. The studio rented out an upscale rooftop space overlooking the city. Music played, drinks flowed, and everyone wore their best faces. But Anna's heart wasn't celebrating. She smiled. She hugged. She posed for photos. But inside her chest, something felt loose, untied. She had given everything to the role. Not just her performance, but her real self. The part she never showed anyone. And now that it was over, a question echoed through her like a quiet knock. Who am I when the lights turn off? Keanu arrived late to the party. He never liked crowds. Never liked noise. But when he saw Anna standing alone near the balcony, her dress catching the wind, he walked straight to her. "You okay?" he asked. She turned, her smile faint. "I don't know yet." He didn't press. Instead, he handed her a folded napkin. On it, in black ink, were 5 words. "Truth doesn't need a spotlight." She held it, fingers curling around the edges. "Why does it still hurt?" Keanu looked out at the city lights. "Because you didn't just act, you revealed. And that kind of honesty leaves an echo." Anna looked down. "What if I never get a role like this again? What if this was the only time I got to be real?" He turned to her. "Then make your own roles. Make your own truth." "That's easy for you to say," she whispered. "You're Keanu Reeves. Everyone listens when you speak." Paused, then said, "No one listened to me for years. Not until I stopped speaking to be heard and started speaking to be understood." Anna blinked, stunned. He placed a hand over hers. You don't need noise to change people, just presence. A week later, the first trailer for the film dropped online. It went viral within hours, but not for the action, not for the explosions. It was one quiet moment, one single shot of Anna looking into the camera, eyes trembling with unsaid emotion that captured the world. Comments poured in. Whoa, this doesn't even feel like acting. Her eyes. There's a whole story there. Give her the award now. Anna read them all. But her fingers hovered longest over one message. It was from a young girl in Argentina. I wore makeup every day to hide how sad I was. But then I saw your face, and I didn't feel ugly anymore. I felt seen. Anna closed her laptop and cried, not from sadness, from connection. Studio press tours began. Anna flew from city to city, wearing simple clothes, natural hair, and her truth. Like armor, but one interview went sideways. A talk show host, known for bold jokes, leaned forward and asked, So Anna, is it true you stopped wearing makeup on set because Keanu told you to embrace your soul or something? The audience chuckled. Anna's lips froze. The host continued. I mean, that's sweet and all, but aren't you worried people won't cast you if you stop trying to look, polished? For a second, Anna heard the old voice in her head, the one that begged her to stay quiet, play nice. But then she remembered the canvas, the journal, the handkerchief. She leaned forward. I stopped hiding, she said softly, because I finally met someone who didn't ask me to be perfect. And that reminded me I was never born to be polished. I was born to be real. So the audience fell silent. No claps, no laughs, just stillness. And then, applause, slow at first, then rising. Backstage after the show, Keanu was waiting. He hadn't come on stage, but he had watched. He handed her another napkin. This one read, Truth always stirs the quiet ones first, Anna. Smiled through tears. You? Keep writing me these. I keep needing them, he said gently. I'm scared, she admitted. What if the world turns on me again? Keanu looked into her eyes, then let it. Just don't turn on yourself. 1 month later, a fan event was held in Los Angeles. Anna walked the carpet in a white dress she designed herself. Plain, soft, no labels. A teenage girl in the front row burst into tears when Anna stopped to speak to her. I drew you something, the girl said, hand shaking. Anna took the paper. It was a simple drawing in it with no makeup. Holding a heart, the caption read, Thank you for being real. Anna hugged the girl tightly after the event. Anna sat alone in her hotel room, tired, raw, fulfilled. She opened her journal and wrote, I used to want fame. Then I wanted praise. Now I just want presence. The kind that holds people, even in silence. She didn't know if anyone would read those words, but she did know this. The world might reward the perfect ones, but it remembers the honest ones. The quiet behind the curtain 8th awards season had begun. Anna's name was suddenly everywhere. Best performance of the year, they said. A breakthrough, they wrote. Magazines printed her photo across covers. Billboards showed her face, raw and glowing from that one still shot in the film. But with every step forward, Anna felt something strange pulling inside her. Not fear, not pride, just stillness. Like the calm that comes after you've cried for so long. And there are no more tears left. She stood in her dressing room on the night of her first major award ceremony. A sleek silver dress hung beside the mirror. A makeup artist waited quietly by the counter, but Anna just sat there, holding a different dress in her lap. Soft blue linen. Nothing fancy, just hers. She looked into the mirror and whispered, Who am I doing this for? The makeup artist asked gently, Do you want me to start? Anna looked up and smiled. Not today. She slipped into the blue dress and did her own makeup just enough to feel familiar. Nothing more. She tied her hair back with a ribbon her mother had sent from Havana. When she stepped onto the red carpet that evening, the cameras clicked faster than ever before. But this time, she didn't pose. She walked slowly, gracefully, like someone who didn't need to prove anything anymore. Keanu was already inside the theater. He sat in the second row, quiet, sipping water from a paper cup. When Ana entered, their eyes met across the room. He raised his cup. She smiled. The ceremony began. Award after award passed. Lights dimmed. Applause rose. Names were called. Then it came. And the winner for Best Lead Actress in a Motion Picture. The room stilled. Ana didn't even breathe. Ana de Armas. The applause erupted. She stood, frozen. Keanu stood too. But he didn't clap right away. He just placed a steady hand on her shoulder as she walked by. She stepped onto the stage, heart pounding. The golden lights blinded her. 1,000 faces stared. She took the microphone with shaking hands, and then silence. Everyone waited. She glanced down at the envelope in her hand, then looked back at the crowd. "I was supposed to say something polished tonight," she began. "Something rehearsed. Something charming." A few chuckles, but I realized the real me doesn't rehearse anymore. She paused. "I used to think acting was about pretending, about playing parts. But this film, this experience, taught me that the most powerful role I'll ever play is myself." Another pause. "And I didn't find that strength alone." She turned her head slightly. "I found it in a friend. Someone who reminded me that truth, even when it trembles, is stronger than any performance." She didn't say his name, but Keanu nodded once. A silent thank you passed between them. After the show, reporters swarmed her. "How does it feel to win? Did you expect this moment? Who inspired you?" Ana smiled gently. "Pain," she said, "and someone who didn't try to fix it. Just sat with me while it existed." Later, in the quiet backstage hallway, Keanu found her sitting on a flight case, award in hand. "I don't know what to do with it," she said, staring at the statue. "It's just a symbol," he replied. "You already did the real work." Looked up. "But now what?" He handed her a small package. Inside was a simple stone pendant on a leather cord. "What is it?" she asked. "It's from the Temple of Kyoto," he said. "I found it years ago. The monk who gave it to me said it carries the weight of silence." Ana ran her fingers over it. "Why give it to me?" "Because silence isn't empty," he said. "It's full of the things we finally learned to hear." Hina wore the pendant every day after that. Not because it was beautiful, but because it reminded her that even in the middle of noise, she could carry stillness. Weeks passed. The world moved on to new films, new faces, new stories, but Ana wasn't chasing anymore. She began working on a project of her own, a film about a girl who spoke less and felt more. A girl who hid behind makeup until someone saw her. Not as a star, not as a performer, just as a person. Ana would direct it. Keanu offered to produce. "You're not doing it to be famous?" one journalist asked in an interview. Ana smiled. "No, I'm doing it so no one else feels invisible the way I once did." One night, while editing the script, Ana opened her journal. She wrote, "Maybe I was never meant to be a star. Maybe I was meant to be a mirror so someone else could see themselves and finally feel real, and under the soft light of a desk lamp." She smiled. Not because she had made it, but because she had come home to herself. Her light, unfiltered studio was quiet at sunrise. Ana stood in the doorway, holding a small thermos of coffee in one hand and a printed script in the other. The place didn't feel like a studio anymore. It felt like a memory waiting to be reborn. This was where her film would begin. Not the one she acted in, the one she wrote, the one she would direct. Her story. Keanu arrived before the crew. He walked in without saying much, carrying a box of old film reels and a soft smile. "You ready?" he asked. Ana nodded. "Not at all, but I'm still here." He smiled. "That's what ready feels like." They sat on the floor, surrounded by lighting cables and empty coffee cups. Reading through the opening scene, a young girl stares into a mirror. She wears heavy makeup, eyes lined in black, lips painted red. She smiles, but it's hollow. Then a hand appears in the reflection. A gentle hand. Wiping the makeup away, Ana whispered, "Do you think people will understand it?" Keanu looked at her. They don't have to understand, they just have to feel it. Production began 2 weeks later. Anna hired mostly women. She chose a quiet, natural filming style, no heavy lighting, no artificial glamour, just truth. On day 3, the young actress cast as the lead, her name was Lucia, stood frozen on set. She had forgotten her line. Her hands trembled. She looked around, panicked. Everyone waited. Anna walked over, knelt beside her, and whispered, "It's okay. Just breathe." Lucia's eyes welled up. "I'm not good enough." Anna smiled softly. "Neither was I. Until someone told me I didn't have to be." Lucia blinked. "Who told you that?" Anna stood up, looked toward the back of the room where Keanu leaned silently against a wall, and said, "A quiet man with loud kindness." Keanu gave a small nod. As filming continued, Anna stopped checking social media, stopped reading headlines, stopped caring about who was watching, because something deeper had taken hold. As the crew clapped and the lights dimmed, Anna stood in the center of the set, eyes closed, no noise, just presence. She had cried here, laughed here, unmasked here, and now she was ready to share it with the world. Months later, the film premiered at a small indie festival. No red carpet, no designer dresses, just folding chairs, nervous actors, and a makeshift screen. Anna wore jeans and a white blouse. Keanu wore his old boots and a paper bracelet someone gave him at the door. The room fell silent as the film played. When it ended, no one moved. A woman in the back began to cry. A man wiped his glasses and said, "I saw my daughter in that." Someone else whispered, "Thank you for telling the story I never had the words for." Anna didn't take the mic. She didn't need to, because the film had already spoken. Later that night, sitting on a curb outside the venue, Anna looked up at the stars. Keanu sat beside her, hands in his jacket pockets. "You know," she said, "I think for the first time in my life, I don't need to be seen." He glanced over. "Why not?" "Because I finally see myself." He smiled. "That's the real award." Anna leaned her head on his shoulder. The world kept spinning. Traffic kept passing. Life kept rushing. But for a little while, under a sky full of stars and truth, everything stood still, and that was enough. The next morning, Anna posted one final entry on her journal blog. "Dear world, I used to chase your light. But then I realized I had my own, unfiltered, and it was enough to guide me home."